So match 2 starts now between Mystical and Paya. We see AQ from Mystical versus Soldiers Nilfgaard from PAJABOL. This is the second game of the showcase between GWENT PRO Polska and Team GwentDetta. One game to rule them all. The winner of this gets 50 bucks and 1 point for his team, and the winning team in the end gets 100 bucks. Everything is organized by Matol, so I'm here just as a spokesperson and caster. So Mystical finds his tutors and AQ already is present, so let's see what line he opts for here. Paya has, well, some golds and bronze soldier engines on the board that can try and pose a threat for the small drones. We see that this deck has a pretty simple plan. First, you check if your opponent has an answer for your defender, and we see that Paya is able to find it. So there is no defender in game anymore. Karate Heatwave erases it from the game. No Sabbath bringing it back. No nothing. Now this deck also has a Vilgefortz and locks. Well, as far as locks go, Paya kinda missed it. For now, you never know what random work council is bringing you. There is a Jan Kalvit, of course. So Mystical is just deciding if he's going to try and stick either on the board, and by the looks of it, he does. Now let's see what does work council do. But anyway, if you are not work counseling here for Vilgefortz, you're just accepting it, and yeah, we see that Paya goes for that. Now something goes inside the AQ, and it's something is either, and there is no stopping that, and nobody is preventing Mystical from clicking the Urn of Shadows as well, bringing the second Teeter. So what Paya can do here is to play a special and pass and deny the Sabbath with only Jan Kalvit, but that is probably not what you do in this matchup, or at least we see that it's not what he is going for. Imperial Marine has 11-point tactic. Everything else is at 10 provisions, so if you want 2 points per turn, you get 2 points per turn. If you want something special brought from the lower provisions, well, you can choose that, and you more or less know when does it arrive. So yeah, something from the golds got picked. I guess since it wasn't buffed by 2... Ah, wait, yeah. We need proper flanking. Never mind. So if you don't know, this is the card that I revealed. It's Cis play mostly via Bacala. So it's infused. And when there is an active flanking unit on opposing side of the board, it damages a unit by 1. So either is indeed infused now with a negative thing. Mystical decides to float. He's Kikimor Stalker, and I would assume... Okay, I assume nothing. We see that Ramon is coming. Oh, Ramon. War Council is coming, we see 3 cards there, and we see battle stations developing double soldier. Those soldiers are dealing 2 damage each. Well, the only problem is that they just got ethered, so 3 damage at the moment, but that's enough damage if necessary to kill the 3-point unit. So Fire decides to use another leader charge. So yeah, we see that the small bug is being killed by mean soldiers. You don't really want to spend everything, every out with this deck. Mystical is happy with the graveyard setup here, more or less. And plays more carryover, so he has his Sabbath active. Now he also plays a Hive. Hive is a pretty scary card, considering it gives you some control of what is getting spawned when. We see that an engine is being developed here first. That either just took 2 damage. Took damage from the infusion, going to full points. So if you really want to, you can finish that off. But since that's a lot of points per turn from the Kikimorph Warrior, it gets erased instead. We see that, yeah. That's the beauty of the Hive, giving you control when your Stalker is getting spawned. So this is a 6-point unit now that is not that easy to answer. And that is only 2 power. And we see that the roll on Imperial Diplomacy is only 5 points maximum here. But at least it's immune. Immune 5 points is better than nothing. And nothing is getting clicked. Paya decides to keep it mystical though, prints another. It's so popular, this either, that another edition of it is getting printed onto the front row. Also we see the charges go up, and thanks to that, wait, I guess it wasn't really that good. It's something that could have been done. Is there a reason to lead a charge being 20 points ahead? Not that much, decides Mystical, and just goes into pass here. Maniopai is sticking around, still had clicks on his locations, both of them actually getting used here, and engines are continuing to grow. Unlike Mystical's things, Fireball's engines do not require any clicking and gain points passively. That's the power of something like Marine.
Summon, ye we call.
Pella remembered that he can actually help and do something, so infusion is getting erased here. Yeah, we see that the gap is relatively small. It's just that this Iron Knight is rather small. So if Missy plays another card here, Paya is limited with his options, so to say. Is there anything that Arcane Tome giving Paya? Only a bronze special. Well, Mystical's choice is wider. So let's see if he actually decides to risk it. No, decides that he's not giving the tome away. So how many points is Paya getting? He gets this target. And he gets Exactis, so didn't spend anything extra, which is always good. As in, didn't have to commit a big card. Playing 2-point Iron Dite and getting there is pretty grand, I must say. And we see the scariest card of them all, the Trahan, is ready. He's ready to go. At the moment, Sabbath is bringing Kalvit, Immune Werewolf, which is like not the greatest blocker of potential engine pools, and then it's 2 Marines and 1 Cavalry and 1 ship or fleet. It can be brought out. Okay, we see a Nausicaa Mulligan. Fair enough.
Is there anyone here to whom I can entrust my missive?
Trahan, you had a Heatwave, Glusty, and Sabbath, and you are showing this? I guess he is new at his job, so... Not the most scary card. Well, removing an Incubus that can bring another Stalker is, of course, influential to the game, but not as influential as it could have been. Since Mystical didn't get Sabbath to his hand. We still have Hive Mind, if I'm not mistaken. The Kikimor Worker is not out yet, so... Yeah, even Parasite is playing for far greater tempo than Trahan was. Well, with the addition of the Hive, of course.
Move!
That's okay. I was just making some changes to the title, but that's not the most influential slave driver as well. I guess he was taking lessons from the Trahan. Hello, Kaneki. Nice to see ya. Mystical is playing cheap cards, and he's quite far ahead. So he's not really concerned with being 2-0 here. I see that he gains card, and truthfully, Paya didn't really achieve much by playing the right Trahan. That's why some people just hate that card with passion. Sometimes it just misses, and other times it discards well, either Glusty or Sabbath or something, and the game changes a lot. There are locks, so Nilfgaard can deal with some of it. Some of the pressure put out by the Monster Empire. And for those of you who are just joining, this is the game 1. Score is above me somewhere. And we see the tome into the Sabbath. We've seen that, yeah, the targets brought out for Nilfgaard. Pretty bad for Nilfgaard, not achieving anything. You can bring Iron Die to turn it joust with the click, but then you will be giving Hideous Feast to your opponent. Triple Eater is a menace, and yeah, we see that Paya decides not to click because Iron Diet is not that big, and giving your opponent another way of protecting stuff is not it, and he gives up. So we have the first win for Mystical going into the books. Paya decided that he had enough. Okay, game 2, Paya versus Mystical, and now Paya is on blue coin and he decides to take the Nilfgaard. No AQ, no anything. So this is Nilfgaard versus Self-Wound. Mystical is playing pure Self-Wound, so we see Melusine, Knut and Sigvald combo, and even bronze cards for that, so nothing on the side of warriors. And Paya has, yeah, the same Nilfgaard that we've just seen in the game 1, that he lost to AQ with. Nausicaa, no necessity for that card. Illusionist as well, finds engines, which is, well, a welcome tradition. Mystical has location for control, has a Neuromancy, so should be alright. And we see the battle stations as well. Sons of Nilfgaard. Kalvit, sort in the deck so that you are guaranteed to draw your good stuff with battle stations if you like in need of points immediately. Misty goes for the veteran since yeah, let me show you. So the Drakars and priests are hidden in the deck for now. There is a Oneiromancy tutor. Let's see how he chooses to play round 1. Paya is just, he knows what's on top more or less with the Kalvit, so yeah, gains 2 points from this easily. And Marine starts to work. How do you stop 1 Marine when there is more to come? The cavalry would have been like alternative to drop here, but sadly all that damage would have just buffed the Turshak veteran, so nothing would have been achieved. Mystical commits 1 leader charge. Well, plays around stuff like Turnage House that he knows Paya is running, so no problems there. What is the strategy against Melusine? Do you just erase it from existence immediately and allow other things to leave, or do you allow it to grow? Yeah, we see that Melusine is safe for now. Playing veteran against illusionist is a choice. Maybe you don't have a better one, but yeah, this is a powerful combo for Nilfgaard. Your opponent plays a card that is not really utilized in any other situations, and yeah, you just play Illusionist that sets power of a card from the graveyard to 1, and then the Berserk is getting triggered immediately, so we'll see how it works out. After Kalvit, the Illusionists are hidden deep in the deck. We see Knut. Knut is not getting activated immediately, also not getting dropped next to the Melusine. So not direct threat coming from him immediately. Paya has one of his engines turned off, but when there is 2 engines on the board, why not bring the third out as well? Not worth it to activate the the cavalry here. Don't really want to activate Knut for no reason for your opponent. So we see just Imperial Marines growing in strength here. As far as playable cards, well, both players have stuff that they don't really mind to like throw away in round 1 if it's a fair exchange. And yeah, we see that Tournament is actually getting played here for the bronze. And Knut is being activated while there is a lock. There is some control from PAJABOL, so let's see what he opts into. One of the most well-kept secrets of Gwent is, okay, the ship dies so it doesn't matter, but the ship actually has a bloodthirst condition, so you can boost by 2 if you have bloodthirst 2. But it was not the case. Okay, let me see. See the squirrel being played, and yeah, more bronzes exchange. That's what I call a fair exchange. You might be like not okay with playing your Wilgi forces and heat waves early against the self wound, but stuff like a lock, well, especially when your opponent runs Mahaka Mail, is not the worst choice. We see Kaermoren, Trolde, to be more precise, developed. The card just got one provision nerf recently, but it's still being added into warriors and into, as we see, self wound. Pretty nice control option. You probably don't go all in on that, but yeah, you can even run at Vim for reactivation of location. It's that good. Unlocking Knut and buffing it is not ideal in terms of long-term strategy, but this is a round of Gwent that nears its end, so we see that Fire decides to... yeah, that's actually also pretty neat, setting it up exactly to 5 with the Kyre Troll the click, so decides to clash it, not with the unit that it could have like killed, decides to clash it with a tall unit. 6 armor provides the fact that Knut survives, but at the same time... And yeah, we see the Melusine is getting evaporated into the desert. It goes well, there is now Knut and Torchak veteran for that Sid Grief is right. In round 2, if the push is happening. And also, yeah, we've seen the Kyre Troll there clicked. So no control option here for Mystical. But yeah, he has Dream. As I mentioned, it's worth it at times. So, battle stations with no bronzes at the moment. Wilgi forts and 9 damage Ironite do not have targets, so your only proactivity is Bacala, and War Council. We see that Paya opts into plane. Location here, the Bakala one, developing some points and starting the engine. Ironite is growing, now dealing 10 damage, so if Swollblot ever comes, it can be answered immediately. We see War Council going for Trahan. Is it better this time around? No. And this is a lesson for everyone who is not really aware of the option. You can refuse to discard anything from your opponent, but yeah, Trahan is not being really cooperative here for Paya, which is, well, if you don't like the card, it's a great thing to see. On the other side of the board for Mystical, Priest is starting to attack Olgierd, but it's not really that powerful to damage the immortal copy of Olgierd, which is also quite good with the Clash and card roll. So multiple purposes for this card in the deck. You can damage it, you can duel with it, it will be acting as a control tool that receives no damage whatsoever. So Mystical cannot really play nothing here, but at the same time he decides to, because he still has okay. Did we get the updated command or what happened with that ship? So yeah, we see Mystical opting into playing a Purify Peller here that did nothing and only played for 4 points. Not ideal, but yeah, that's kind of offering Paya a pass, and maybe Mystical is happy with that. So he didn't contest any further. Okay, so I cannot. Yeah, we see this Swollblot being implemented because Knut from the graveyard, I guess, wasn't getting ahead. The gap was what, 10 plus points, and the engine was still active. Also, hello, Yuragis. So, yeah. Nausicaa, Ramon, we've seen it in action in the previous series. We see it again here. What is missing is second bronze, and here we are. Second bronze was obtained at the cost of Mulligan in Ramon, but what can you do? Mystical goes for Oniromancy into Sigvald, not into the totem. Sigvald is not really a menace here, considering Heatwave exists. Unlucky that the slave driver has to hit an armored Nausicaa, but when you are playing that many points in one turn, maybe you are not getting to complain about that combo you've got, maybe. So we see the Illusionist, as it was mentioned before. Yeah, it has a tasty target. Just playing for 12 points on release, on deploy. No questions asked. 12 points guaranteed. For a proper vision bronze, it's good. So that Iron Knight was growing and growing and grew to 15 points already. It will have this praise to strike as well, so it won't be Omega boosting anything for the spores. Spores, of course, are finding some value on Nausicaa's leader buffs and all that, but it's not a scary amount. Same goes for the heat wave. If you are looking at this wall blot angle, then there is also armor on the board. And yeah, if you are looking at the Knut first, you have to play it. You are only damaging by like 4 points. 3 points, and yeah, you don't have martyrdoms to scale that damage later on. But yeah, the huge Iron Knight is still present here. So it's for Paya to decide if he's okay with eating some extra damage from the Swole Blood, if he's expecting that card to come out, but he must be pretty comfortable. He still has double location to click, 1 leader charge, and 20-point lead here. And yeah, Mystical basically has spores that are playing for 3, 4, 5, like 6 points if we are resetting something that was Work Council, but that Work Council is not getting clicked anytime soon anyway. We can just Iron Knight here. Damaging by 9, buffing only by 7, but now with Heat Wave and Spores gone, you are not even afraid of making something too tall. Yeah, that's not exactly too close, and style points for resetting veteran go to Sigvald. Okay, we see the last card played, and we see that it's not the worst Vilgefortz when you're putting a 4, but most stuff was already played out. Okay, so changing the score, it's 1-1 now, and Mystical is on blue coin again. So it's game 3 between PAJABOL and Mystical. Mystical is opting into playing reverse on blue coin against PAJABOL's AQ. AQ that is revolving around Kikimor Stalkers and Triple Eater. And well, reverse deck is just playing reverse, and there is not much else to it. Oh, okay, there is a Temple Win always existing as well, so a mythical card that your opponent has to play around, opting into playing around Tall Punish, White Punish, Greedy card, Defender, so there is always that. Let's see how it goes. And welcome everyone, if you are just joining, this is game 3 of best of 5 series between Mystical and PAJABOL. Let's go. We see that some Reaver Scouts are already present in Mystical's hand. He has even a wagon that will try to smuggle one of them into the next round. the weather might be striking those bugs, since we have a Tempest that is playing double fog. So first River Hunter card lands on the board. It's gonna be multiplying if not answered. There is of course Idaran and River Scouts and then locations that can provide you with extra bodies. As I mentioned, there is a wagon. If you are not aware what the card does, it actually banishes one of the bronzes. Well, to be more precise, on the right of it, gains resilience. So next round you can banish self and oh, not banish self, or transform self into the banished unit. So you can give yourself an option to have more Reavers and Reaver Scouts and all that. Okay, okay. I don't see the biggest threats, but we got Philippa and, well, Vandegrift can be played, and Philippa is potentially devastating if Defender is getting heat waved. So should we talk about Pious situation here? He only got Defender from his combo, so AQ, Onero, Royal Decree, either everything is stuck in the deck with no tutors for them. So while focusing on Mystical because he was going first, we have to talk about Pious situation as well. We see that he decided to drop one of the Stalkers on the board already. But it answered the avalanche of Reavers, potential avalanche of Reavers, of course. So we see the Temple clicked, Temple going for Avalach, Avalach goes to one of the locations later on, but the click has been done already.
Time is the easy bit. Get down's another matter.
So that the Temple points are not being lost here. Of course, this is a mobilization leader, so there is no Inspired Zeal to trigger some of your units. We might have seen some River Scouts being activated for multiplication recently, but yeah, this is old school Rivers. But sadly, there is only one copy of them on the board for Mystical, so they are not partying yet. If you really wish, you can of course thin weather out, but what good does it make for the river deck that you go and just thin the fox out of your deck? So we see Oneromancy for Idaran, and we see the click on the Flotsam, newest addition to Nilfgaard. NR, sorry, misspoke. I wholly support NR while talking about the NR. But yeah, Flotsam is the new card in the River Hunter deck, providing you with a sealed order of any of your bronzes, NR bronzes that is. Oh, refresh anyhow, but yeah, it provides you with an order unit as well. The Empire is spending leader charges here, but it's for the great cause of eliminating copies of River Hunters.
Traveling is an option, you see. One of the better ones.
Yeah, doing Meandra on Flotsam is kinda cute. Allowing you to go for another copy of that shielded River Hunter. Yeah, the weather is being played, so the thinning is happening. It doesn't get. Oh wait, does it? Yeah, it doesn't get Mystical ahead, but he has more pressing issues, so decides to go for that. Also, yeah, that Rand Warrior is getting some buffs coming from multiple angles here. The destruction, the consumes, the weather, anything to help. So, and at this point, does Mystical try to develop his wagon? And is there anything to it at all? The alternative is, of course, playing Avalach and trying to win round, but all the other plays a bit too slow to contest. Yeah, we actually see the Avalach, so he probably deems round 2, round 3 against that deck when Paya has the control of the round length. Really devastating. If you go for that, don't you also click Flotsam? I don't know, decided not to. He was roping, so we don't know exactly the timing of it all. So what is playable in Paya's hand? Of course he can just drop Squirrel, but that's a bit slow if you want to stay ahead. The weather is doing some damage, and also we have the double reverse hunter here. We see another Kikimore and leader charges and some roping, and one of the drones goes to back row. We see that the Vran is at 9 power now. It is getting damaged by the river hunters here, and we see that Mystical is continuing to play. Is he just throwing away the heat wave, saying that he's tired of this? Is there Peller and Masha Truffle click angle, trying to finally protect some of his low body units?
Lost spirit devoid of name. Can't tell how they
Decides to just, but yeah, we see that the Rainwater is getting damaged, but because of the weather and 1 point drones dying, he is back at it. Looking at current situation, yeah, Mystical is just in a mindset of having to win this round and not letting Paya to control the flow of the game. Paya was going all in, spent his full leader, spent Kikimore Stalkers. I wouldn't be surprised if, yeah, we're seeing the Glassy land here dealing with one of the water hunters as well. It would cost Mystical a click on location, Does it get it him there? Yes, it does. So yeah, he decides to smuggle one River Hunter package into the next round. But so does Fire, playing his last card, smuggling a win into round 2, so now it's up to the draws. Mystical has 5 points of carryover, and he has his leader still, right? That was preserved. So what do you think? Where does this round lead us? Also, Philippa is not bad if your opponent tries to like do some setup, partial setup, waiting for the payoff. So even here, it's potentially like just erasing one of the cards, having no other targets. Do you ever click? No reason to. There is a parasite that could have been like played on your wagon, but it would have been done earlier. Well, Paya has a Nero, but what is his plan? He still has this Hive that he can drop and try to get the kid over. Decides to click the Arcane Tome as well. You're not really happy about clicking Arcane Tome while playing against Organic's AQ? Because they usually have better targets than you. It probably goes same versus like Crimes Syndicate. You just don't want them to have options. Yeah, we see that even here the click maybe achieves something, but at the same time you are allowing Paya to play his last card and click. And get ahead, forcing you to play your last card, but in this case that last card is Adalia, so is there a way? No, there is nothing that heals a 9. It would have been funny to hit wave that, denying leader, and maximum amount of points that Mystical would have been playing is exactly 4 points. Now we have a party with Adalia and River Scouts, and the scout garrison providing us with a soldier. Vandergrift, I don't think was welcomed at this one, but 6 points is 6 points. Paya did find AQ by round 3, has a Neuromancy, but yeah, we see what is happening here. Quite a few bronzes, and this ability that Mystical managed to carry into the round 3 is becoming pretty vital here. Also, killing bronzes with shields and at 6 power is not that trivial, especially when we're talking about something like Parasite. It's no go. There is, of course, a Hive Mind. Sprinting Stalker hatchling and 7 points of warrior, but for that you need to play organic, so click your AQ because, well, your entire leader is spent. So we see, I would assume that it is still Sabbath, yeah, and we would assume that it wasn't a rogue. A pretty great spawn on the back row from Stalker. And also the cards that were brought out for Mystical were not ideal for NR. Triple pink on the armor of Troll. Well, they are pink in the tallest unit. So this round of pinks was not influential. Also, quite a few of them are dying in the... Quite a few of those are dying. One to this. And then, yeah, the charges on either. Sadly, for Paya, one leader charge would have solved everything for him. Now he has to deal with a couple of pinging units still. What's the best AQ you can have here? You don't really proc AQ anymore, so you just eat. You just eat whatever. There is no chance it's dying. Yeah. We see that Rivers kinda struggled with the setup by a strategy of round 1 of going all in with the leader in everything. Well, pays off. Quite a few points as well, considering the charges that were not used. Quite a few points as well. So PAJABOL takes the lead in this series, winning 2 in a row, Gwent. But now to game 4 between PAJABOL and Mystical. Paya is playing that famous deck you probably heard about if you are around Gwent streams and Gwent community. Priestess is back and it has new build for self with Renfrey. Well, the build is not new. The player who Paya got the deck from was playing it for like half a year by now, but it gained popularity after Onager inclusion. Pix you cam. Yeah, sorry. Things moved. Thank you for letting me know. This is okay, but yeah, it might shift again. So mulligans were done. And this is not the best pickup. That card is supposed to jump out of the deck, but well, luckily for Paya, he has pincer maneuver, leader, and cards to do so. So this is Renfrey Priestess versus Self-Wound. Priestess deck, of course, doesn't really have too many control tools, so we'll see how Paya handles it. But the idea of the deck, if you missed the streams where the deck was played, or if you haven't seen any guides for it, is that you are capable of playing double Priestess and Onager in one turn, leading to, well, destruction on the board. If before it was just Rosh into Priestess and Tridem infantry, now you have double Priestess and, well, buffed Tridem, so it's much scarier. But at the same time, well, sometimes you just miss Renfrey. We see that Paya goes for the...
Break something and I'll break something too.
For the mage here, Istred is being floated, and Snowdrop is coming from the Curse Scroll. Sending Redanian Secret Service at the bottom of the deck, but well, as soon as Vitality is being gained, it will be tamed from the bottom of the deck. So the deck taints perfectly to 0 if you get rent-free option that plays a card from your deck. If not, well, it lacks 110 since it doesn't play something like Todar was played in the other build. For Mystical, he is playing for that carryover on Melusine. Also, since this is a rent-free deck, of course, no specials, no heatwave, so then let me recheck. Yeah, there is no Squirrel as well in this build.
I'm an officer and a gentleman.
I must say, Strays of Spala are sometimes kinda awkward in the deck. We also see that Istret is about to die to heavy rains in his region, so his efforts are appreciated, but he's not getting clicked here. Unfortunate. Knut is out, Melusine is going to the graveyard as well, so resurrection targets are being developed here. Let's see what the clutch card does. Well, if only Priestess was a machine, it would have gotten a charge. But unlucky. There's some sort of cultist setup being seen by Pyre there, which is also leading to nothing good. So yeah, Rune Mage is necessary in the deck because it, well, it doesn't guarantee, but makes it much better chances for you to get the rent-free into one of the two options that in your deck. Okay, Snowdrop is separated from Istret here, but still does the job. Let's see what future awaits the Strays of Spala. Are they going to send a gold back into the deck, and which way would it be done? Sometimes people are trying to preserve Sunset Wanderers, but that's risky because Pincer Maneuver Leader doesn't draw neutrals, so if it somehow gets shuffled to the bottom of your deck, you are unfortunate. Also, this deck, being Priestess deck, running 25 units, you are lowering your chances of, well, getting insane Priestesses, because everything is a unit, you are less likely to shuffle them. Oh yeah, we see offensive Marjoram, Kid and Snowdrop. Since that Knut is sticking to the board, well, maybe not for long, but it was. It managed to dispose of both Istret and Snowdrop there. Pretty great job from one guy. We see that, yeah, machines are getting played, and Knut is dying after Siege Combat Engineer, oh, Siege Master, sorry, is given a cooldown reduction to Carabalista. So what's next for Misty here? He still has like engines working and carryover. No zeal for priestesses. I thought it was Iris list.
Perhaps it would be best if we went out for a bit of air.
Forget.
No, not in this case. We see that no damage is being done to Melusine, or like only one damage. Paya also allows Sunset Wanderer to come out. You are still hoping to buff your priestesses with Mentor. Ideally, you'd have your Eastern surviving and buffing the units you draw, but well, Eastern had other plans and went to the graveyard, unfortunately. And I think Iris addition, well, not in this build, right? But overall, Index is still being debated if the card is good enough for any deck to slot it. But yeah, you are limited in your hand buff options since you run more units, and you also don't have the location that was a saver at times. Okay, so Priestess at least got some charges on it, being drawn and mulliganed away. Double Mentor. Adrenaline for them now provided after the Renfrew Gang play. Renfrew Gang is also a solid tempo. So only 6 units. Paya will draw 3 of them for the next round, and Vernon is playing 2 of them, so you're not perfect in. But as I mentioned, Renfrew is able to provide you with 1. There is a slight caveat to that. Renfrew is a neutral that you need to draw into your hand. But you are pincer maneuver, so you kind of want to keep your leader. Okay, so we see Renfrew here. Is Roche getting back into the deck for now? No, because you don't want to hand buff him too much. So at the moment this is 3 and 1 charge. So Paya just using all the charges to play the Renfrew out here and sticking all of them onto 1 priestess, but yeah, it might lack the punch that the previous version of priestess was packing. Sometimes you just don't hit enough, and well, some of your cards getting answered as well. So yeah, Curse of Pride.
Travel makes one more.
Interesting, Dwimeandra. After using your leader ability, play the lowest provision unit from your deck is what you want to see. So Paya doesn't have any shuffles left since the ability was changed for the Renfrew ability. He goes for the trades though. He's seen what Mystical was playing. Perfect options, yes. Destroy an enemy with 8 power or less is also quite influential, isn't it? So, Melusine, carry over round 1, plays important role here because it allows Mystical to catch up in 1 card. Allows him to preserve Sigvald, but yeah, there is a slight issue with Sigvald and Renfrew ability. On the other hand, well, it's self-wound we're talking about. Mystical needs to find the card. Okay, Heatwave is a card. There are also Strays of Spalla. here. And we see that Swolblood is nowhere to be found, which limits Mystical's well, womb place at the end. You sadly cannot combine two cards in one go as your opponent can. Otherwise, something like Sigvald into Mardrone would have been very good. This boosts a light unit by 1. Sadly, there is only one warrior, or like one charge and no more warriors to trigger it with.
To slay dragons, 'tis our nightly duty.
One of the priestesses is buffed now, and this is the low charges one, but you usually only need one of them to be hand buffed, so shouldn't be any complaints there. Stresa, of course, only playing for 4 points, nothing to see there. So we have 5 and 9 charges, no more draws. Paya only needs a leader target to unleash the Curse of Pride on, and he's good to go. Oh wait, wait, yeah, he is a, for some reason I was thinking of him only as a cultist. I'm sorry for that. He's a warrior as well. This spell is awkward. Well, you just have to play it as the last card, and nothing much to it. But yeah, the Sigvald is actually safe because 9 points. You don't want to bleed it though. So you just martyrdom it. And yeah. And if you want to clash, you can clash, but it will be just absorbing the pings. And Paya kinda has to go. You cannot really play Strays of Spella. Can you? So yeah, Sigvald A. Okay, you're basically floating, and yeah, it's all nice, but Sigvaldo was kinda absorbing all the pings. Game 5 of the series between Mystical and PAJABOL, and we have ourselves a Northern Realms mirror, if you call it a mirror. It's Rivers versus the Rivers versus Renfrey Priestess deck. Let's see how that goes. Greedy Engines versus Greedy Finishers. Okay, so Paya had 1 priestess in hand already, and that gets shuffled. He has like 3 bricks in his hand with Redanian Secret Service, Hubert, and double Renfrey gang. Huberto goes out, another priestess comes, so no Istrid, no Snowdrop, no siege supports. If we are looking at Mystical, he got himself Idaran. He got himself Temple and the River combo, more or less.
Don't recognize your old mates. We're the Crinfrid Reavers.
Is there 4 damage in rent-free deck? Is there really? There is a lock, but shield won't save you from lock. So some floating. Ah! Oh, wait. But there is more. There is always more. And ta-da! One thing would have protected this
No time to whimper.
river hunters. One thing. A shield. But we're playing the game for the thrills at times, and well, there is another copy of it now on the board, so version 1 was just not important enough. On the other hand, yeah, this Easter has also been floated. Let's see, when does Spire decide to click it? And at full power, with the bomb being in deck, we might expect the click to happen any moment. Not guaranteed, but potentially.
Glad we helped.
Yes, it's been clicked, and it clicks with, well, with 2 nice top decks as well. A Priestess gaining a charge, and a Snowdrop also being combined here. The draws were impressive with active Istret on the board.
Checkmate.
But what Priestess cannot do is stop those rivers from pinging everything down. And there is always more of them. So Paya is starting to be in need of more and more points. This is not as impressive as previous top decks. You'd want to see a Priestess at least once, but what can you do? Also a little late for the temple, but you can always just click it next round. Pretty significant finds here in all 3 pools, I'd say. We got Gerhard, War Elephant, and we got the Buchhold. Buchhold, who is, well, kind of made for the river hunters to begin with. So temple pools, yeah, reasonable. Let's call them reasonable. Straist of Spala strikes again. The card is omega awkward because half of the golds that you'd be sending to your deck are neutrals. Or Sunset Wanderers, who are neutrals and who are like in no need of being put back into the deck. So wholesome 7 pings per turn at the moment. Temple is being clicked. Gerhard can be, of course, combined, especially if greeted by 1 turn with multiple things, but even here he could have been played for points. Pink, 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 pink. 7, as I said. Sunset Wanderers is out. Snowdrop is dead as well, so let's see. Let us see how it goes. Okay, Priestess. He's been hand buffed as well, and Renfrey is out. Greed, destruction, the damage, boost, and spawning enemy units. So I miss here if we are talking about the ability, but Blessing of Charity, lowest provision unit from your deck, is being present. So the deck that doesn't tin one card found its tin, if necessary. Is it necessary? Well, the deck is kinda built around that, but we see that a passive of +4 points is being taken by Paya. So let's see how that works out.
Retrievers.
Green Retrievers are being smuggled into the next round by the wagon, so that's carry over. Paya
Don't ever expect your opponents to lie.
Paya has 4 passive points. Those are not the grand finds you'd want to see. So passing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 8. Is it enough by 1? Also, there is 1 armor. It would be funny if it is. Like, Mystical might want to keep the Gerhard. It also was a random pull from the Griffin Witcher Mentor. But yeah, no risks. No risks. Goes for it, wins round 1. And welcome everyone joining us. Game 5 is ongoing, so you are just in time to see the end of it all. So what's the plan here for Mystical? Has 1 carryover on the board. Those are not the most impressive finds. I also found, yeah, the Secret Service goes back into the deck. And Green Retrievers are at it again.
Appearances can be deceiving.
Using Tome against Renfrid deck is always guaranteed to not backfire. The Mystical is doing his setup. Gets the location that can be utilized by the Dream, but yeah, this is dying, and this is a lot of points, and everything is armored. So Onagar is not the most scary card in the world. We'll see some blind Roshan here most likely. Man, Sage of Spala, awkward as hell. Any way you look at it. So of course there is a stratagem on the back row that you can go for. Also, let's just check, it's 5 and 5 and they are both unbuffed. And there is a Hubert jumping out at if you use 2 things. Okay, so I charge 1 here. There is never stopping Misty from playing his last card. He had location click and board set up for it.
The city is ravaged by rot.
So you can send the strays back if you want something guaranteed in your hand. This is hell of awkward. So into the blind Vernon Roche we go, and yeah, like having 2 bricks, one of them was bound to be found. Ping ping, things survive, but what doesn't survive is round 3. Round 3 didn't make it, guys. So Mystical wins the series. GG. Greedy decks do it quite well. Sad we didn't see cultists, but it is it for day 1. GG's to both players and to 4 players playing today. GG's to Matol for the smooth experience. It's just a match between 2 players with $50 at stake and 1 point to their team if they are winning. So Kuner versus Nick ended up with Kuner winning. Paya versus Mystical was a win for Mystical, so it's 1-1.